Morning, everybody. Let's go to the Chitas of today. As you start to pour the book of Devarim, the book of Deuteronomy, we are holding chapter 1, verse number 1. These are the words that Moshe Rabbeinu spoke. Bnei Yisrael to the Jewish people, Be'evar HaYarden, on the other side of the Jordan, by Midbar in the desert, by Rava, in the plains, Mul Seif, opposite the Sea of Reeds, Ben Paran and Ben Tefel, being between Paran and Tefel, V'Lavan v'Chatzeres, and Lavan and Chatzeres, V'Di Zahav, and abundance of gold. Rashi says, L'shisha and Dvarim Teichaches, since these are words of reproof, Moshe Rabbeinu lists here all the places they angered God. He did not explicitly mention the issue. He didn't say exactly what happened, but he mentions them in name, and like in a name, and it's all these names, and that is all. He did that out of respect for the Jewish nation. He didn't want to embarrass the Jewish people. Al Kol Yisrael, he had reproved only some. Had he reproved only some of them, then those elsewhere would have said to those that were present, "You heard the son of Amram said, and you did not answer him. You didn't respond. Had we been there, we would have responded." So therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu made sure I'll call Yisrael to call every Jew in, and if anybody has something to say, they should say. By Midbar, they were not in the desert. They were in the plains of Moav already. They were in the city. They were living in cities. So what is the meaning by Midbar? So it's regarding what therefore Rashi says that all these places that I mentioned here is all alludes to the story that happened in the desert regarding having anger God in the desert. In that it says, if only you have died in Egypt, but you've taken us out to the desert. You reminded them of their statement about the desert. Barava, what means in the plains? This is regarding what happened in the plains where they sinned about Per and Shittim. With the story of Shittim where they sinned, and where the story of Pinchas. Mul Seif, regarding when they rebelled the Sea of Reeds. When they came to the Sea of Reeds, they said, you want to bury us? We should have been buried in Egypt. Similarly, they rebelled when they went out of the sea. They said, as it says, they rebelled at the sea, rebelled at the Sea of Reeds, at the Sea of Reeds. Bein Paran and Bein Teifel. What means Paran and Teifel? Rabbi Yochanan said, we searched all of the Torah. We could never find the name Teifel or Lavan. So there's no such names. Rather, it means that you rebuked him about what happened with Teifel, is the mun that was white. As we say, we are weary of the light bread. And also what they did in the Paran desert, in the story of the spies. So Lavan is the man, and Paran is the spies. Chatzeres, what's Chatzeres? This is a story of Kairach. What happened in Chatzeres? Another explanation, he said to them, you should have taken a lesson what happened to Miriam at Chatzeres for having spoken slander. So you should have learned from Miriam how it's important not to talk Lashon Hara, because only negative things would happen from the speech of Lashon Hara. Di Zahav, what is Di Zahav? An abundance of gold. Now she says he rebuked them for the golden calf, which they made as a result of an abundance of gold. Which made a result of abundance of gold, and that has said, I given them plenty of silver and gold. So these are all the things that happened. Verse number 2, there were 11 days from the Mount of Chayrev, Derech Seir, through the desert of Seir, at Kadesh Barnea, until Kadesh Barnea. Now she says, Moshe Rabbeinu said to them, look at what you caused. There's no shorter route from Chayrev to Kadesh Barnea than through Mount Seir, and even that is usually an 11-day journey, yet you covered it in 3 days. For on the 20th of the year they traveled from Chayrev, as it said, on the 20th of the second month in the second year, and on the 29th of Nisan, the third month, they sent the spies from Kadesh Barnea. Deduct the 30 days they spent in Kirvat HaTaiva, where they ate the meat a full month, and 7 days they spent the Chatzeres, where Miriam was quarantined for her tzaras. It follows that they covered that entire distance of what usually takes 11 days. They did it in 3 days. Why? That's called Kfitza Haderech. That's called the shortening of the way, which is a miraculous situation, especially millions of people. The divine presence exerted itself, so to say, on behalf so much in order to bring them into the land quickly. But then what happened after that situation was the spies, and everything went downhill. And because you misdeeds, you have circled the Mount Seir for another 40 years. So something that God was shortening the way quickly was brought about, that it went on for 40 years. Now we are in the 40th year. In the 11th month, the month of Shvat, the first day of the month of Shvat. This is when Moshe Rabbeinu starts his speech, and he speaks now till he passes away on the 7th day of Adar. Diber Moshe el Bnei Yisrael. Moshe Rabbeinu spoke to the Jewish people, whatever God commanded him. Now she says this teaches us that Moshe Rabbeinu only reproved them close to his death. And from here, where did he learn that? He learned it from Yaakov Avinu, who reproved his sons only close to his death. He said, Reuven, my son, I'll tell you why I did not reprove you all these years, so you do not leave me and associate my wicked brother Esav. There are 4 reasons the Gemara says why one should not give reproof until close to his death. Number 1, so that he's not repeatedly reproved, that person. So that his reproved colleague not be embarrassed when he laid his season, as it's brought down in Sifri. Yeshua also later on reproved the Jewish people before his death, and so too Shmuel HaNavi reproved the Jewish people before his death, and so too David acted with his son Solomon. Verse number 4, after he had smitten the kings of Sichon and Amori, it's living in Cheshbon. He destroyed Og Melech HaBashan, which was resided in Ashtes Vedroi. Rashi says, Moshe Rabbeinu said, if I reprove you before you enter even part of Etzro, they will say, what claim does he have on us? What kind of chutzpah? What good has he done for us? He's supposed to bring us in the land? Never brought us. His only intention is to criticize us and to find excuses. But he did not have the strength to bring us to the land. Therefore, he waited until he defeated Sichon and Og. He showed them if he wanted to bring him, he could bring him into the land, he could bring him into the land. It was not that he didn't want to bring them, not that he couldn't bring him into the land. He destroyed these big kings, and he gave them, and they actually inherited part of the land already. They ultimately just came part of the land. And only after that, he said, listen, it's not because of me that we're not going into the land. If it was up to me, I would be going into the land, and I would be the one who conquered the land for you. Sichon Rashi says, has Sichon been a hard king to defeat? But we're living in Cheshbon. It would have been hard to do, because Sichon and Cheshbon, they were both strong. The city was strong, and the king was strong. And had it been a different city, and Sichon lived there, it all would have been hard to conquer. Since the king was hard to defeat, all more so when both the king and the city were hard to defeat, then you're dealing with a very harsh situation. Now she says, here too, the king was hard, it was a powerful king, and it was a powerful city. Now she says, Ashtes is the term denoting rocks of or hard substance. Ashtes Kanayim. Ashtes here is identical to the Ashtes Kanayim, where the Rephaim giants, who Amraphel defeated there, lived there. As it says, they defeated Rephaim by Ashtes Kanayim in the book of Genesis. Og escaped from them. As it says, the survivor came. And it says, The only king, Oig of Bashan, remained in the remnants of the giants, which Moshe Rabbeinu killed. Bedroi, this is the key name of the kingdom. Be'eva Yadin, on the other side of the Jordan. Be'eretz Moav, in the land of Moav. Hoyo Moshe be'eretz ha'Torah azos. Moshe Rabbeinu began to explain this teaching the Torah. Hoyel, Rashi says Hoyel, it's an interesting word, and it means to begin. And Rashi brings a pasuk in Bereshis, Hine nohai alti, I have begun. Be'er Torah, Rashi says, he explained it in 70 languages. Moshe Rabbeinu knew all the languages of the Torah, and he explained it in all languages in the world. Hashem Elokeinu diber aleinu b'chayrev. God, and our God spoke to us at Mount Chayrev. Lema, saying, Rav lachem sheves ba'er ha'ar. You're sitting long enough in this mountain. It's time to move. Rashi kipshute. Rashi says it means simple. Number one, God says to Moshe, God says to the Jews, it's time to move. Another, there's an God explain that you've received greatness, Rav, the reward for your stay in this mountain. Here you made the tabernacle. Look at that. You got the commandments. You built the tabernacle. In Noida, you built a beautiful candelabra, the furnishings of the temple. You received the Torah. You appointed the Sanhedrin, officers of a lot of things were accomplished when the Jewish people came to Sinai, and their time around Sinai, around the mountain of Sinai, accomplished a lot. But it's time to move. It's time to continue your journey and go to the mountains of the Meriva, Kol Shchenav, and all its neighbors. Barava in the plains, Bahar in the mountain of Bashvela, in the lowlands, Banegev in the south, B'chayfayam at the end of the seashore. Eretz Canaan, it's time to come to the land of Canaan. Valavonin and Lebanon, at Nahar Agodel, until the great river Nahar Paras, the Euphrates River. Now she says, turn and do your journey. The route via Arad and Chaimish Bar Hara Modi, like it implies. Vakol Shchena, what's the neighbors? Is Ammon, Maya of Mount Seir. Barava, this is the wooded plains. Bahar, this is the Hara Melech, the king's mountain. Ubashvela, this is the lowlands of the south. Ubanegev, what's the Negev? Ashkelon, Gaza, Caesarea, Kedisa B'Sifri. It's time to come to the land of Israel, take over the land. Ad Nahar Agodel, to the great river. Now she says, since it's mentioned, great river, it's not the Atlantic, it's not the Pacific, it's the Mediterranean. It's a small river in comparison to the great rivers. But nevertheless, anything that's connected to Eretz Yisrael is great. As Papa is saying, a king's servant is like a king. Attach yourself to a ruler and people will bow down to you. If you touch one anointed with oil, you become anointed. And therefore, the Mediterranean is connected to Eretz Yisrael. And the Torah, it's called a great river. See, I've been giving you the land. It's come and inherit this land. Which God made a vow to your fathers. Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Lases lahem, to give to them. And to their offsprings after that. Now she says, with your own eyes you see that it's true. I'm not telling you something hearsay. We have conquered. There's nobody who disputes your rights, and you do not need to even wage war. Had they not sent the spies, they would have not even to have weapons. They would have walked into the land. Lavesechem, to your forefathers. Why are their names, Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, mentioned again separately? To tell us that Abraham's merit alone is enough. Isaac's merit alone is enough. And Jacob's merit alone is enough. And now they have all three, triple header. I told you, Lamer saying, I cannot bear you alone. Now she says, what is it saying? signifies, Moshe Rabbeinu in fact is saying to them, I am not saying this on my own initiative, but in the instruction of the Holy One, blessed be He. I cannot bear you alone. It's impossible that Moshe was unable to judge Israel alone. Could it be that the person who took them out of Egypt, who split the sea for them, who brought them the man from heaven, who brought the quail from the sea, was unable to judge them? Rather, this is what he's saying to the Jewish people. God, your God, has made you great. He has made you greater and higher than your judges. For when a judge misjudges you, he's taken away the incorrect punishment for you and administered to the judges. So too King Solomon said the same thing. For who is able to judge the difficult people of yours? It is impossible that a person about whom it's written and became wiser than all humanity could say, how could he judge them? Rather, this is what King Solomon is saying. The judges of this nation are unlike judges of other nations. For if a judge of another nation passes judgment and wrongly has a person killed, beaten, or strangled, or perverts judgment and thus steals, there's no severe consequence. He can do whatever he wants. However, if a wrongly person pays money, if I am a judge and I give the wrong judgment, I am censored as if the capital offense. As it says, I will take the life of one who steals from the poor. God says, a judge who steals money from somebody judges falsely, by me I take souls. So that's what he said. Moshe Rabbeinu says, this is too big of a job. So make a mistake. I make a mistake, and that's what ultimately happened. I make a mistake, and look what happens when you're a judge, when you're a leader in the Jewish nation. What is the ramifications? Verse number 10. Vashem elekeichem hir be'eschem. God, your God, has made you great. And he made you as the numerous as the stars of heaven. Now she says, were they really as numerous as the stars of heaven? They only had 600,000 men. So what does it mean? You're a yom hayom, the here you are today, means behold, you are compared today, existing forever. That's the point. You're like the stars of the heaven that never cease. Like the sun and the moon and the stars that continue forever. Hashem Elokeichem Yosef Aleichem Kochem Elef Pamim. May God, the God of your fathers, add to you 1,000 times as many as you are. Yivarech Eschem, may He bless you, Kasher Dibur Lachem, like He has spoken to you. Now she says, what is He added by saying, may He bless you as He spoke concerning you? It only means that they said to Moshe, why are you setting limits to our blessings? The Holy One, blessed be, already promised Abraham unbounded blessings. If someone will be able to count the particular dust of the world, your offsprings too will be countable. So Avraham Avinu was blessed like the dust of the earth, and you're coming to give us like the stars. Stars have much more calculation than the dust. Moshe Rabbeinu said to them, "This is my own personal blessing." You're right. I'm giving you a personal blessing, but the Eibishter will give you 1,000 times the amount of mine. But He will bless you as He spoke to you. You're right. So concerning the ultimate blessing you'll get from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is the blessing of Abraham, which is a concept that cannot be counted. And that completes the Chumash for today. Okay, we continue. The Alter Rebbe's letter of Tshuva, and we are holding in the 12th chapter of Igeres HaTshuva. The Alter Rebbe explained in the previous chapter that although a penitent should always remember his past sins, his recollection should not lead to a state of ongoing depression. That's not the point, or shame. Such an attitude could cripple the cardinal principle of serving God with joy. Rather, he should recall his past misdeeds from afar. That's the point. I'm not here trying to bring you down. I'm trying to make you better. And the only way you can become better is that you remember where you came from. But it should be for the far. Only insofar as they will teach him to be humble. And the point of this memory is that you should be humble. The Eibishter wanted that Yidden should be humble. And not only humble, but humble l'fnei kol adam. humble in the front of everybody. Moreover, these memories will actually enhance the joy of the divine service, for they will cause him to accept with happy equanimity all manners of pain and suffering, be it verbally or physically, whether visited upon him from above or through mortal angels. It's a very powerful thing that Alter Rebbe said, that we should not be afraid of pain in life. We should not be afraid of pain. And physical pain and spiritual pain, we should not be afraid of it. In the thus concluding chapter, this is going to end the last chapter of Igeres HaTshuva. And the Alter Rebbe explains why these afflictions cause penitent joy, why we should take pain with joy. The reason of joy of the suffering of the body, you should realize that it's a great potent, it's an unbelievable good thing, for the sinning soul. The mark of to cleanse him in this world, and to spare him from the scores of Gehenna. Especially in this generation, that we can endure the fast, especially according to the amount of fast, which is mentioned by the Arizal, which we mentioned in the beginning of this Igeres, chapter 3. Which the body needs to have to cleanse the soul, so they shouldn't have the cleansing of hell, Gehenna. Which course of Ramban, as my man and Nachman says, a blessed memory back Dharma Lapidashiv. Nachman says in his introduction to the book of Iyov, Shafilu Yeshudim Shel Iyov Ayin Shana, that if you ever read the book of Iyov, and over there it talks about how he suffered unbelievable sufferings. But the Ramban, Nachman, is right that all the sufferings of Iyov that he suffered, 70 years, Ein Lel Erech Klal, is nothing. The Yesudei HaNefesh Sho'achas Begehenim is nothing to 1 hour in Gehenim. So we should realize that that any pain that we go through in this world is worth it, so that we should not have Yesudei Gehenim. Because when it talks about the fire in Gehenim, the fire is not a physical fire in Gehenim, because the fire in Gehenim, the fire on this world is only 1/60th of the fire in Gehenim. So if you're worried about fire, then you need to worry. The fire is much more intense. But because this world was built on kindness, and therefore with a little suffering in this world, and everybody should not have big suffering. A little stomach ache in this world, it brings about that you don't have to have dinin koshin, severe judgments in the world to come. And the analogy of the movement of a shadow on the earth of a handbreadth, and equal the sun's movement in the sky to thousands of miles. Meaning the sun's movement of thousands of miles causes a corresponding movement, but a few inches of the shadow of the sun in this world. So we should realize that a little bit of pain in this world, with everybody shouldn't have major pain, but a little bit of pain in this world is big pain in the upper worlds. And if the Gemara brings this mashal of the sun, we should realize that in spirituality, the mashal is even much greater. So a small little movement, a small little pain in this world is unbelievable cleansing in the upper worlds. In the descent of the worlds from level to level, from the most exalted heights into the physical world. So the analogy may be understood as follows. Any event that transpires in this world results from a parallel but far more ethereal event that previously took place in the spiritual exalted worlds. Thus, the effect of an event in the physical world is much greater than those in the lofty worlds. So therefore, that's why a little pain, a little bit of embarrassment, humility in this world works wonders in the upper worlds. No, the Mashakasa Bezoyer HaKodesh is known what is brought down in the Zohar. In the elevation of the higher worlds. That the elevation, all the works of the higher worlds, everything that happens in the higher worlds comes through a little bit of what a Jew does in this world. We should realize, we talk about the korbanos, and the Zohar says, you take a little bird, you don't realize what this little dove has an effect in Olam HaSalyanim, in the upper world. We think we're doing nothing. Oh, we're taking a bird and we're bringing a carbon. What happens with this small bird in the Olam HaSalyanim is unimaginable. The Zohar teaches that an offering but such represents the creature from the animal world, but more one such represents an item in the vegetable world, elevates all spiritual realms. We should not diminish the value of what we do in this world. And so too, the Arizal said, thus like the Zohar talks about a dove, that a person brings a carbon in this world, so too every action that a Jew does in this world has a ripple effect in the upper worlds. So a mitzvah formed in the world of physical objects are tzitzis, made from wool, or the passages of tefillin, written on parchment, set up a reaching reverberation, exalted spirit. You can't imagine what's happening in Olam HaSalyanim, in the upper worlds. And this is what our sages said, a blessed memory, sanctify yourself and become holy. What does that mean? A person has to only sanctify himself a little bit in this world, and they becomes even greater sanctified in the upper world. As I explained above, that the Eibush sanctified us with the mitzvah. What do you mean the Eibush God sanctified us? The Alter Rebbe said that the Eibush gives us a sanctity above and beyond what we do. So it's not a tit for tat, because we do a small thing. We do a mitzvah. We put on tefillin. We do a small mitzvah. What's a big deal? No. The response is above and beyond what we do. Thus, the physical performance, the divine commandments in this world draw down upon individual holiness, not only from the most lofty world, but also from the degree of godliness, Kedishanu, which transcends even all the holiness of the world. So price is so is the concept of reward and punishment. What does it mean? The reward for performing mitzvahs infinitely surpasses the physical deed. Schar mitzvah, you should realize the reward of a mitzvah is the mitzvah, and it's far beyond the penny that you're going to give tzedakah. The punishment, so too, goes with oynish. Suffering by an individual in this world for his sins substitutes a far greater merited punishment than a person undergoing to come to the world to come. So therefore, don't be sad in any kind of a situation that you go through in this world. It's all mamish going to cleanse anything that you have in the upper worlds. Again, it should be small things, but realize the positive in it. As our sages say, schar mitzvah, the world of a mitzvah, the reward of a mitzvah is the mitzvah, meaning the reward of spiritual illumination that is drawn down through fulfillment of mitzvah itself is the mitzvah. As I explained in many other places. So since, just as explained, that the performance of mitzvah draws down reward divine illumination that only transcends the world, it follows the reward for mitzvah in the loftier spiritual are infinitely higher than the physical action performed below. V'das novin nokel, and this knowledge is elementary to those that have knowledge. Umaskil al kol davar yimtza tov, and those who have intelligence in this matter will discover good. What a beautiful way to end it off. Because these are self-understood, lofty issues, but the more a person contemplates and comprehends it, yimtza tov, will find good. And that's what really the Alter Rebbe wants from all these teachings, is you should find good. Today is the second day of Menachem Av, which the chapters of Tillim are chapter 10 to chapter 17. If you do those chapters, you do the chitas of the day. The Rebbe writes today, on the second day of Av, a boy begins putting on tefillin 2 months before his bar mitzvah. At first, without a bracha. First month he does it without a blessing, and the second month he does it with a blessing. Wish you all a wonderful and beautiful day in Mitzshem. We are going to have a class at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. at Chabad. We're going to learn some more Tanya. We're in the middle of chapter 32 of Tanya. And we'll see you all tomorrow. 8 a.m. We'll continue the chitas of the day. Have a wonderful and beautiful